Today is Easter Sunday, March 31st, 2024, and as of right now, there are less than 48 hours left before the Tropicana Hotel closes forever. For 67 years, the Tropicana Hotel has stood at the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and the street named after the resort itself, Tropicana Avenue. It is an institution, and on April 2nd, 2024, it will close its doors, most likely forever. The current owners have made a deal with the Oakland Athletics, who intend to move to Las Vegas and open a brand new baseball stadium on this location. There are many who theorize that that might not happen. There are many who theorize that still someone could swoop in and purchase this property from the current owners, Bally's Corporation. But as of right now, as far as we know, it is closing forever. By the time you're watching this video, it probably has already closed. I took one last walk around the property, and I'm just going to talk you through my footage that I shot here. I started in the back on the west side of the building. These are the original rooms. Today they were calling these the Bungalow Rooms. They have been off limits for weeks now, maybe a couple months ago. When they first announced that they would be closing, they closed off the original rooms. These were the original towers. There were 2 wings of 3 stories of these bungalows, and it was the last of its kind still standing on the Strip. Many hotels, the Stardust, Flamingo, all of the original Vegas hotels started out as motel-style hotels like this, and all of them had eventually been demolished, put large towers in their place. The Tropicana was the last holdout with these style of rooms that you could still stay in. You can see they still had the wrought iron furniture out on the patios. I'm assuming they're wrought iron. They're very heavy as to not blow away in the Vegas winds. Pretty impressive. You wouldn't see those on the balconies of the Cosmopolitan these days, for example. There used to be an entrance right into the casino through those doors there. That has been blocked off and closed, at least at the time of this filming. As I go through the hotel, you're going to see lots of abnormal things. Slot machines shut down, bathrooms locked up. They were pretty much ready to close, even though they were still going to be open for a few more days here. I got some shots at the back. This is a shot of the parking structure, the only parking structure they had, one level. I believe they used the top level for valet cars, and the public could park on the first floor. So if you were someone who came and parked yourself in the back, you might come through this back area here. And I will do this in relatively real time. You'll see me walk through here. I am going to stop and focus on the back of the theater. The back door is just to the right here around this corner. And you know, I'm an entertainment channel. If you follow my page already, you know that I review shows. That's really my main focus. I love entertainment, and I've spent a lot of my life in theaters, and this is a historic building. This is the stage door. This is the one bay door. Any show that's ever played that room has had to load in and out of those big elephant doors there. And that's presumably the stage door. Years ago, you might have seen Siegfried and Roy coming out of that door having a cigarette in between shows. Lots of history here. And it's pretty incredible that theater, that building where the Folies Bergère show happened, and is still kind of intact. That's the one structure. And this is the pathway you would have walked if you went from the parking structure around to the front door. And I'll stop and take a look up at the side of the theater as well. I wish we could have gotten inside the showroom. The shows that had been there MJ Live that you see advertised on the side of the building, as well as the Prince Tribute Show. They closed and moved to new locations a couple of weeks ago. So since then, the theater's just been blocked off and off limits. I am hoping that at the very least, before they demolish this place, they will have some other opportunity to come back inside. Many times when these casinos close down, they will have an auction. They will sell off the gaming tables, the furniture, anything that isn't nailed down. They usually will do a public sale of some sort. And usually you can get back in the doors. I'd love to be able to get into the theater. Maybe they'll sell the seats. That'd be cool. Although I think they were brand new seats at some point. Not the originals. The original was a showroom style. But here we go. This is the walkway along the side, along Las Vegas Boulevard. The fascinating thing about the Tropicana is how there's so many strange renovations. If you look at those doors to the right there and the facade on the side, it's all mixed and matched from different architectural styles over the years. This building has been renovated many, many times over the years, but in pieces, in small chunks and for different purposes, as opposed to the other older buildings that are still in operation today, where they've completely gutted the place down to the studs and started from scratch, even if the original structure is still there. The Sahara, the Horseshoe, the Cromwell, those all have hotel towers older than the Tropicana. The two towers that are standing there today of the Tropicana, the earliest one was built in 1977, I believe, 78. It opened in 78. And the newest one was 86 it opened. So it's a year older than I am as of the recording of this. It's not the oldest property. It's got plenty of rooms. It's easy for a lot of people to write off the Tropicana not succeeding because of its age, and just because when you look around inside, you'll see how strange the layout is. But it's really no excuse of the building itself, and more so the management and the unwillingness of owners to invest the proper money and just make it over. So we're going to take one last walk into the front doors here. This is what it looked like to walk in the door. To the left is the hotel check-in. And a little seating area, the casino, and of course that Tiffany glass ceiling that's become famous. And again, that wasn't installed until the new tower was opened in the late 70s. They have these signs about the table games. They weren't even open 24 hours anymore. Here's the theater, and I do focus on this a minute. There were so many incredible entertainers. If I can take a minute to just talk about the entertainment history. Of course, all of the old buildings had the most legendary entertainers all passed through there. Every big name eventually played every hotel up and down the strip. It wasn't until later years that entertainers made a permanent home and wouldn't go to competing properties. Of course, the legendary Folies Bergère show was there for 50 years. It still remains the longest running show in Vegas history. and plenty of other acts as well. They wouldn't just have that show. I've seen many great shows in my time coming here. I'm particularly fond of the early 2000s. I used to see Rick Thomas, the magician, at that theater, and it was an incredible show. He was one of the competitors to Siegfried and Roy with live tigers in his magic act, which is now a complete thing of the past. And more recently, another magician, David Goldrake, had a really great show there. And it was the most recent home of the long-running Vegas hit Legends in Concert, which was kind of one of the first signs when they announced they were going to close. Legends in Concert left the building, and the Prince show and my MJ Live moved in for the remaining year or so of the hotel's operation. There was a rather unsuccessful production of the musical Mamma Mia, which had run for many years at Mandalay Bay, and then they remounted it at Tropicana about 8, 9, maybe 10 years ago now, and it did not succeed, and it was kind of the beginning of the end for the Trop. Even though it was newly remodeled, it was the last time that they invested money in this property. They gave it that new look with the red lettering and the total whitewash over the side of the building. Here's a sign of informing people that their chips will no longer be able to be redeemed after the closing date of April 2nd. But as I was saying, the most recent remodel, they did not invest enough money into this property. They basically just painted everything white, painted the exterior white. They didn't paint it, it was wrapped. There were some vloggers who were reporting that the outside of the building was deteriorating. It was actually just this white wrap over the windows that was peeling off. But here was, out to the second level, the escalator was out of order 2 days before closing, and you had to take the elevator up to the second floor. And here's where you see restrooms already closed off. And you may have noticed already some of the slot machines were out of order, shut off, basically. And I don't know if that was just because they were saving money, saving time to not have to operate that many slots. There is a law about if you have a slot machine that has a progressive jackpot and you're going to close your casino, you have to pay out those jackpots. So it's very possible that some of those shut down slot machines had jackpots that, you know, once they got paid, they turned off the machines, etc. I'm not sure, just me hypothesizing, but fun facts about casinos. There are rules and laws in place to keep everything fair for all the players out in the public. Whether you were going to be there playing those machines or not, they have to abide by certain laws. So I'm sure that's why those machines were shut down, not just because they were being lazy and didn't want to operate them. Here's one last walk down the walkway that connects the two towers. This is a little lounge. I'm not sure how old this furniture is. I don't know if this is vintage or if this was part of one of the remodels, but certainly the 1986 extension of the building, this is that extension to the second tower in the back. This is on the first floor. This is their convention space at the back of the hotel. I took a little spin down this hallway. I loved focusing in on especially the ceiling tiles. You'll see me pointing up at the ceiling. It doesn't come through on this video so well, but it really showed its age if you looked up at the ceilings and saw the kind of popcorn ceiling tiles. And here I'm going to step into the glass elevator. One last ride in the glass elevator. Beautiful shot of the casino, the whole property.
Going down.
I realize I'm not showing all of the most exciting parts of the casino. Plenty of other vloggers have shown tours of the casino when it was open. I'm walking through a couple of things that I think were most interesting. The places I think fewer people walked through. Anyone who walked in off the street could have walked through the gaming floor, but you might not have walked through this back hallway towards the hotel towers. I especially love this second level above the box office here in this little casino area that leads to that older part we showed above the showroom. And I'm going to walk through there. This is my favorite part in just a moment. These are hallways that have not been renovated, didn't face that most recent renovation where they just painted everything white. And you really do feel like you're stepping back in time. Even the carpet is the older carpet. And a lot of these hallways and doors are administrative offices. But again, this is a great example of the weird bridge of different chunks of this building, built in different installments over a couple of decades. And the way they linked the different parts together, they created these little weird hallways where you had to go up a few steps and connect to the other part of the building. Here, all the moldings, the wood panel, if you can see that ceiling is so stained and dirty. And you have here the executive, it's the casino marketing department. Really weird liminal spaces in this place, and the low ceilings this must be when you're walking from one chunk of the building to the next here. And again, these windows leading into rooms, heck if I know what's inside those rooms. There's corners, things I didn't even show on the video, where you rounded a corner and it was just being used for storage. It's so strange, it was so unique. It's easy for people, like I said, it's easy to look at this and say, yeah, obviously this place was so old, it had to close. But really, it just needed to be remodeled. I mean, I think about the Cromwell on the Strip. It used to be the Barbary Coast. It's a very old casino. It's very small for the Strip. But they tore it down to the studs. The original structure is there. All the rooms are the same size. But you had to just demolish, you had to, renovate everything completely in order to keep up with the times. And the various owners of the Tropicana, to their credit, preserving a lot of this ceiling above this elevator bay is incredible. And of course, here's a shot of that glass ceiling. This was, if you went into the Laugh Factory, the entryway led you to this little overhang, this balcony over the casino floor. This is seen in so many photos over the years. I took one last selfie here, and then went back out at night to show you the place at night from the bridge from the MGM Grand. But like I was saying, so many people love this place, and it doesn't need to close. I think if operators had spent the money to properly renovate it, properly utilize this space, I'm sure they could have knocked down the original bungalows, built more casino space, built more hotel rooms, for crying out loud, on their footprint. So much potential. They could have kept this place in operation, but they didn't invest the right money, and suddenly they were left with a lackluster property. And it put them in a position to do business with the Oakland A's and want to tear the place down in exchange for a ballpark. There are people out there. There are some insiders in Vegas, not all the mainstream media, but people who seem to know things around here. They believe the stadium won't be built on this location if the A's even do come here. There are news reports out of Oakland that the city of Oakland is still trying to make offers to keep them at the Oakland Coliseum right now. So it's all up in the air, and it just feels like the Tropicana is a casualty of all of the politics and corporate greed and drama that follow casino operations, unfortunately. But we will miss this place. If you may have seen in my little teaser video, I was conceived here. I know that's personal TMI, you might be saying, but it had a personal connection to me. It's something in my family. We've always talked about the Tropicana having a special place in my family's heart here. And I'm personally sad to see it go. I'll still be my fun fact at parties. I can throw that out there. So we'll miss it. One last look from across the street at the MGM Grand. If you're new to my channel, you know I do show reviews mostly. I try to cover Vegas, but I had to, of course, cover this historic moment in time. I'm glad to be in the town. I wasn't always in town for some of the closures. I wish I could have been there for the Riviera. So it meant a lot to me to be here. Thank you for watching. Hit that subscribe button and leave your comments in the comments there. What are your memories of the Tropicana?